Hello, fearless gamers, and welcome to another episode of The Joy of Painting Minis. Now, last time we worked primarily on the sword on the back of Cypher here, and we attached it. And so we are moving now on to near the final stretch of painting this model. We are going to be working on the gloves, this one symbol on his one shoulder pad here, and the robes, and then highlighting, and we'll be using the current paints that you see listed on your screen. And so let's dive right in. So what I'm first going to do is I'm going to do the gloves right here. And I'm going to use a brown on this that I've discovered I find I like how it looks in when combined with the dark brown that the new dark brown that GW produces. The only thing that it is I haven't found a highlight that I really like for it. So hopefully within this episode we will discover one. So now it's really tricky with his gloves because they're modeled in such a way where I can never tell if one part is a glove or a plate or what it's supposed to be. So I'm just going to paint it up as per usual. Most of the time that GW models him, they always model him with like power armor sized gloves with him. And so let us go on here. And what I'm doing is I'm using a fine detail brush here, and I'm painting just the raised edges, and I am avoiding painting up any of the any of the recesses or any place where like plates are overlapping each other, because that way we create ourselves a natural shadow for this. And this isn't, as I've mentioned before in probably some other videos, not really doing any object source lighting. I'm more just doing natural, however it would appear just as I would see. I kind of use how I'm painting the model. I kind of like adjust the light, adjust the orientation in my mind of where the light would be in relation to the into where I'm looking at the model at the time. And for the most part, it helps create a uniformal look without looking really weird. And as you can see, like I said, what's making the job of picking out shadows and such easier is the fact that his arms have been painted with the shadow color, and they've been glued on to him. So now I can kind of see, if I'm really having trouble with getting the brush in there, then that tells me that right there is a place that I should leave unpainted, because it would be difficult for light to, like, if my brush was in a sense the light source, it's having trouble getting in there, and it makes it easier for me to determine what should stay dark and what shouldn't. Okay. Again, I apologize, because what happens is usually I get in a zone, and once I get into that zone, I kind of, as it states, I kind of zone everything else out for the most part.
much as anyone in this room. With two exceptions. I'm willing to pledge my life to see that she gets it restored.
Okay, now we're going to get up to a little tricky part here, and that's going to be that glow area that I decided that the light touches. I might just paint up the other side of the arm a little bit to help emphasize the glow a little bit better on that end. I will decide later, but so I'm gonna first paint up this area here. And since light is touching this, I'm gonna brighten up this area here to kind of give the effect that the glove is getting lit up by the light of the plasma chamber. Okay, so then we got this done, taken care of. And I apologize. There we go. So, now, gonna get that done. So now his gloves have his highlight feature there. And now, going to work a little bit on that plasma coloring on the other end of his hand, just to help it shine out a little bit better, because right now it's only on one side of his hand. Kind of looks a little weird. I don't know why I did that originally. So gonna fix that up right now. And using the same technique before, gonna paint the dark color on first. And okay. And something that I like to do here also, that I should have been doing more of with the last coloring, with the last plasma chamber effect, is I do like applying the next color as the last layer is still drying, because then it helps blend the colors in a little better, and kind of helps the whole, you know, that it's all one light source type of a thing. And so we go here, and I get this brush really fine point here, because now it's going to be some fine detail work. Okay. And then going to add the final highlights. Okay. And then okay, and then the final layer there is going to be, now just a real quick, yeah, is a little thin layer of white right in the center, right at the closest bit. And then, as before, we'll throw a blue wash in there to help blend it all together to kind of look a little bit more nice and uniformal. In terms of, like, I do find with the washes do make makes the gradient kind of help ties all the gradient effects that you do with these paints all together very well, especially if you're not sitting there mixing colors a whole lot. And then, now with that, I'm going to move on to painting the other brown color, which I haven't decided yet which color I like better. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to just do a quick, so what you do with you want to test out colors in terms of if they would make a good highlight, I use the palette. I just take the two colors that I like, mix them, place them on a palette, and then let them dry to see how they work with each other. And so while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to go on and paint the little studs on his gloves here. And I'm going to use a... Basically, most of the GW guys make them silver. Make them gold. I'm going to make them silver so he stands out a little bit. Okay. Okay. Now, looking at these colors, neither of them are actually really good for highlights, but they are extremely bright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take the original brown that I used and going to do one part with it and do one part of white to try and brighten it up just a shade. Actually, gonna try and since brown is more custom to yellow, I'm gonna get a yellow color to heighten this thing. Alrighty, so I successfully managed to do this. I took one of the yellows. I believe this is like the darker of the yellows. I mixed it with my brown to get a lighter color that is a little bit less dramatic in terms of its shade difference. And so we're going to edge highlight the square plates around his gloves here. Then I'm going to see there's these fine lumps in the leather glove, and I'm going to lighten those up so they show off the highlight piece. And then I'm going to do it again to these lines here, which are where his and then I'm going to go right over the top of the glove there to try to just give a little bit of highlight piece to the top of it. Then I'm going to do it to the, oops, I apologize. It's going to go to the tip of his glove here. And to the top of his glove here. And then right here. And the lip of this glove right here. And the lip of this fold here and here. And then I'm going to brighten up that line there. Along here I'm going to and I'm going to paint this nail there, just because that would be a little bit brighter. This line here. Sorry if that was out of focus this whole time, I didn't see it. I am visually impaired and I am by myself, so I don't have anyone to help with checking the focus of the camera. So I'm going to do a little bit of line work here just to give the look that the light is touching the leather glove. Then I'm going to run this fold against there. Outer fold there. And there. And I'm going to do one more mixture with the brown color. This time I'm going to do 2 parts yellow to heighten the color of it one more time. Just a little bit to do some fine highlights. I'm going to do that. Get the yellow here. Mix it around in my mixture here. Get a really nice bright yellow, yellowish brown. And when I say, 1 part, 2 part, what I mean is I'm taking my brush and I put a brush full of the paint onto my palette, and that's 1 part. Then if I put a second brush full on, that's 2 parts. And so on and so forth. And so far for me, it has worked out very well. And then highlight the tip of that corner there. This corner there, and this corner there. This top glove line there. And the tip. There we go. So, now his gloves are done. Hooray! And since I'm now getting up there, I'm going to first do, before I continue, put a wash on the blue that I already put, the blue and white here for the glow effect. Where is my glaze? There is my glaze. And then we're going to paint this blue here along this glove. Okay, there. Now, I'm gonna go and deal with that symbol on his shoulder pad right there. It looks like it's just a broken sword and skull. So I'm gonna do, since he going off of the fluff that Darn Angels have, Cypher seems to be taking on his pose from from a rank title in the Dark Angels fluff called the Cypher, he renounces his name, and his purpose within the chapter is to make sure that they are upholding the traditions of the Order, above all things. So, I always felt like his title, like, they never describe his armor as being overly decorative or standoutish. Like, he kind of, in a way, decorates himself in just a plain robe, like a normal, like, veteran sergeant. So, I'm gonna paint up this skull piece here like I would if it was just a regular, Dark Angel sergeant. And so after painting it black, I'm then gonna paint it a white. And seeing that it's a black coat here, I'm going to use the base white that GW makes, because it actually is really, really good at covering up the black over black paint. I've never had any issues. If there's any issues that I have with this color, it is that it gets thick really easily, and sometimes water doesn't help. Another good product to use in place of water to thin out the GW white is Vallejo Airbrush Thinner. Works really great. I've used it a couple of times and I've revitalized a lot of paints that I thought were going to be toast. Okay, so here we go. And again, I'm just lightly going over the area with the brush. I'm not even applying any pressure. That way, only the top layers pick it up. That way, those little tiny details like the skull and such pick it up on their own, and they come to life without me risking messing up the look at all. But since this is Cypher and all, I don't want that piece of his armor to look nice and clean. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to take a black wash and I'm going to go over that piece very lightly with a black wash to try and give it this very dirty look. So we're going to go. Okay, so then once the black dries, gonna go over it once more with a little layer paint to help get the to just help highlight it, just so it doesn't look like it was just white, painted white and then just coated with a weird black water type of thing, just so it doesn't look so painted on, as I say that dramatically. So I'm gonna dab this in a little bit of water, and I'm going to And there. So, looks nice and dirty, and still looks painted. No, not painted so much, and looks less painted than before. So, that is all for right now. Actually, before I go, there's one thing that's been bothering me. I forgot to paint this little tip here on this gun, and since that's going to take just a real quick sec, I'm going to fix that right now before we end the episode. Okay.
Mr. Russell, you promised not to write on the walls. And when will give me any paper?
Here we go. So.
Agreed. Tell my stories.
And then one last quick highlight just to seal the deal.
I'm fine. People were fine. I won't. Get me a typewriter. I'm not listening.
There we go.
Stop.
So,
This world you created, this Deep Space Nine, Captain Sisko and Kira.
there we go.
None of it's real. All it is to me.
So, that is all for this episode. Hopefully by next week, hopefully by the next episode, we will be practically done with him. Because we pretty much are, just some highlights and the robe, and maybe some one or two little touch-ups here, as I may observe in between episodes. But for now, thank you all for watching, and until next time, Fearless Gamers, take care.